If you ever spoke Russian,
And
Yes,
we are
yeah,
back
Russian
live with the Blame Girl podcast with,
Mr. Terry Wayne saving words.
and we got
Dane, just Dane.
just
It's just
Dane.
Dane. I
Just
looked for the
Dane.
last name. It doesn't exist.
We got just Dane in the house too. Welcome, Dane.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How was your weekend?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Mine. Oh, wait. You guys are going to talk about your weekend first? Because I feel like.
No, I specifically
No,
said I was
it's
going to
all
ask you
it's
about your
all about
weekend.
just Dane.
You're a guest.
I spent $20 to see a cover band, and the whole night people were like, "It's a really good cover band," and I was like, "That's an oxymoron." And I actually stayed and I saw it. It was a really good cover band. Not worth $20, but it was a good cover band.
Hey, you shut your dirty mouth, because
There's no such thing as a good cover band.
I was in a cover band, 3 of them actually, in my early 20s, and we were good bands. So we were making
not in a cover band anymore if it was so good.
Well, we were making $1,000 a night.
Split 7 ways.
No, split. No, a 4-piece. I was just gonna say we were a 4-piece, making $1,000 a night doing the club circuit. So, and we were a good cover band. Now it was country music, so that gets brought way down.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good living, for a guy that's 20 years old,
Okay.
in the early 2000s. Just saying.
What else did you do this weekend, Dan?
To be honest with you,
you just saw that cover band?
My show came back, as you know, a little while ago. So I was recovering mostly. Like a week later, I was still recovering from the show because it was. We definitely tried our hardest on that one. We had a good turnout, like 45 people, but we had like 6 comics, so I had to keep going up there. I don't got that many jokes. I don't know if you know that about me. I got a couple of jokes, got a low threshold of jokes that work on stage,
and they're not even good. That's
Fuck
the thing.
You, Terry.
You always can go to the crowd work. You do crowd work.
I do not do crowd work. I am terrible at crowd work. Don't fucking talk to me while I'm up here, bro. What do you mean?
Say you're terrible at crowd work. I think you got the personality. Anyway, all right.
Okay, everybody tells him he's awesome. Let's be the,
keep it
let's
real.
be the real ones here.
Real friends would tell me I fucking suck. That's
exactly. Be the real ones here. I like Dane. I've always liked Dane.
You should hit the mics as much as you can.
Dane wakes up just like an everyman and puts his gauges in one leg at a time, like every other guy. Can
I share one quick story about Terry Wayne that I always think about?
Oh, please. I love it.
The year was 2016. It was Average Joe's Pub. Average Joe's Pub. They had a comedy night. I go out there. I've been doing comedy since I was 19, but I'd taken a little bit of a break. I go out there. I see Terry Wayne. He gives me this fucking Mr. Miyagi ass speech about it doesn't matter what the fuck you do out there, bro. Like, it's an open mic. This is what I've been saying that to people all the time. It's an open mic. It doesn't matter. Like, that shit stuck.
I remember that, and I remember it. I remember exactly what I said to you, and it was, "There's no scouts here.
There's no scouts here.
There's no scouts here," because I know the only reason, and I always said that to young comics.
He says that a lot. He says that all the
time. The only reason I say that to young comics is because when I started, that's how I felt. Like, there could be a scout here. There could be somebody from HBO here. And it's like, there's none. There's none of those.
Do you hear us? Dane's been doing it just as long as you.
Well, no, Terry caught me when you asked me if I had taken a break. Terry caught me right after I had taken that break, so I was easing back into it. And I was nervous for the Average Joe's Pub for some reason. I didn't know if they were going to like the type of shit I did. And
Average Joe, it was like,
yeah.
Well, that's just me.
Because it was like the only thing open after COVID, but it was such a shit show.
It was weird.
Especially for me, way more than you guys.
What do you mean by that, Terry?
What happened to you?
Well, the guy who ran Average Joe's.
Okay. Anyway,
no, I'm gonna say my truth. I'm going to say my truth. The guy who ran Average Joe's kind of hated me after a certain incident. They had been separated for like a year, and
Terry.
Terry. It's just, I'm just saying.
Do you mean the owner of the bar or the guy who ran the mic?
No, the guy who ran the mic.
Oh my God, I know that guy.
I know, and he still hates me because I had a one-time little
just say it on out loud to everybody. Maybe not.
What do I care?
All right, Terry, how was your weekend?
Look, I got a wife and a baby on the way. Like, I don't give a shit about any of this drama anymore. This is nonsense. How was my weekend? I went to urgent care. I had to. I didn't want to go to the emergency room because I always downplay everything since I was a EMT, right? Because you see so many like hypochondriacs and shit like that. Um, but yeah, had a little episode over the weekend. Started having some intestinal spasms and stuff, and I thought maybe I got food poisoning or whatever. But then later in the day, as I did my job, uh, I started having some neurological symptoms, blurred vision. I started dropping things all the time that I normally wouldn't drop. And then when the verbal aphasia, I believe is what they call it, where I was transposing my words. So I tried to tell somebody that I had blurred vision, and I told them that I had blurred vision. Yeah, like it was a little worrisome. So I had to like leave work and go to a place and have them take blood and do things, and
What they say?
but they said basically, they said, like you had a little episode, maybe make some lifestyle changes. Essentially, they told me like you might be a little dehydrated, you might have some sleep deprivation, because you're not sleeping as much. Because now I wake up at like 3:45 in the morning to go to work. Um, yeah, so like they're like your body's just kind of getting used to it. They said if the neurological stuff keeps happening, just go straight to the emergency room. Don't come here. Because they're worried about like what they call TIAs, which is a trans ischemic attack, which is basically like a fake stroke. Kind of have like you have angina before you have a heart attack. You have TIAs before you have a stroke. So yeah, we dealt with that a little bit, but it wasn't really that big a deal. It turned out to be pretty
Y'all, you be
dumb.
downplaying it, and you're still downplaying
And
it.
that was the fun thing Terry did this weekend.
That's
Yeah, that was the
downplaying.
fun. That was the fun that Terry had this weekend.
Man,
Exactly
take care of
right.
yourself. You about to
See,
be a
this is why
dad.
I
You
like
can't
Dane,
be
because
having
Dane.
strokes now.
This is why I was excited when you said Dane was coming on, because like I like Dane because Dane's a real one.
Oh,
Like he's
Yeah,
like me. He just
we
tells
have
it
the
as
same
it is.
birthday. Me and
Yes,
Terry
and
have
we
the
have the
same.
same
St.
birthday.
Patrick's Day.
Yeah, me and him have
St.
the same
Patrick's
birthday.
Day. Yep,
Oh,
I
okay.
remember that. Yep.
All right. Well,
And
my
by the way, it was mean. It's mean of you to say that me and Dane have been in comedy the same amount of time. That's mean of you to say, because he just said he's got like 4 jokes.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Eh,
Okay. If we're talking
that's
time frame, Terry, if we're talking time frame, I'm at
yeah.
12 years
What's your
now.
date?
I'm at 12 years
Okay.
now. How long are you?
2011 was when I started. October 2011. That was my
So you're
first year.
13. He has 1 year on me in comedy. He literally has. But look
Yeah,
again,
but
I took that.
you out of your mouth, out of your human mouth, you just said you've got like 4 good
I was
jokes.
being
And
facetious. I got jokes. All my
okay,
jokes don't work on stage all the time, Terry. I got to space
okay.
them out. Gotta-
that's
I'm
why you
trying to defend you here. I'm trying to defend you.
I can't
Don't
go up
attack
there and talk
me.
about my dead dad, then come up in there and talk about my mom being a bitch. It doesn't work together. You can't do those jokes in the same night, bro. Like it's, you know,
you got to do them on opposite ends of
yeah.
the. Anyway, all right.
Yeah, and
My
otherwise it just
weekend.
gets real
Thank you
sad.
for asking,
How was
Nobody
Dane.
your
cares
weekend?
about your weekend. You're just
Goddamn.
another privileged white girl. All right, go ahead.
My weekend was pretty cool, I guess. Friday, I was supposed to do off the cuff, but I ended up just working because I got a lot of work lately. And then Saturday, me and my girl Mindy, we had planned on seeing Pauly Shore for a while, so we went and caught that show. And I was impressed.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I didn't know Pauly Shore was good at stand up, and he's funny.
His mother started the comedy store in LA.
Yeah.
Like Mitzi Shore, his mother
Oh, that's
is
his
the reason.
mom?
That's his mom. Yeah, Mitzi
Didn't
Shore
she
is
just
the one
die?
who. What? Yeah,
Yeah, a
you
little
should have
bit.
brought it up to him. It would have made great
You would like
conversation.
that.
I didn't
Um,
really get to talk to him. Maritza, she featured for him, and then Chris Silo, he opened. So it was fun to see that and then like know the people on the show like in a different perspective. And then I
Right.
just hung out. I went up to Jackie's show at Brick and Barrel, who
Yeah.
not Chris Shepard. Chris Rowe was fucking headlining, dude. And right when I got there, he was like in the bathroom because he got hit on the head by the spotlight.
Hmm.
He was bleeding. He was bleeding. And after he like goes up for 20, Jackie's like, I don't want to make him perform the whole time because he wanted to still go up.
Then the
'Cause
fuck
I was
You
like-
know what? You know
Wheelchair?
what would have been great?
Wheelchair?
I
You
was
know
like,
what
do
would-
you need me to go up? And she's like, I don't know. And then he wanted to go up, so he goes up. He does 20 minutes, and then he gets off. And I'm like, yo, do you need to go to the
You-
hospital?
Wait,
Like
No.
nobody was questioning this. And then finally, Jackie calls her
Okay.
dad, and her dad's like, yeah, he should go get his head checked out. And he went and
Okay.
got stitches.
of
So,
course he would. Of course he would say that. But no, wouldn't it be great? Like, because you say Chris Rowe and it throws me off, but it's Topher. All right, he always went as Topher, as far as my class went.
Chris
But
Roll,
what
am I right?
wouldn't it have
That's a
been?
roast.
Wouldn't have been awesome if like the light fell and hit his head and then cured his paralysis?
That's
You
fine.
know,
And then he
like,
stood up.
just another
Yeah.
head injury, like cartoon style. It was like I can walk again.
Chris Rowe would be a menace if he could walk. A fucking menace.
Are you saying that it's a bad? You're saying it's good this man can't walk? Is what you're simply
Ah.
getting at? It's like it's
No,
Probably-
All I
I'm
said
not
is
no.
saying
She
that.
said it. She said it. She's like, luckily for
I
him,
know.
he can't walk because he would be a much worse person if
He'd
he
be
was
a
fucking
menace.
physically able. What do you mean?
If Chris Topher
Am I right,
or
Terry, or
Chris
am I right?
Rowe,
You were
He's
wrong.
No,
kind of
no.
even said it on
I'm trying to
stage.
answer. I'm trying to answer you. If Chris Rowe
Gotta get him back
or
on.
if Topher, as I know him, if he could walk, he'd have 37 children. And like it would be out of
Right?
hand.
That's what I'm saying.
It would be out of hand. The dude is, and here's the thing: I've been accused of being a player or a dog or whatever because I've been with a lot of women. I can't even imagine what his body count would be if he could walk. It's insane, that dude.
Thank you. All right.
I mean,
All
he
right.
looks. He makes the joke that he looks like what's his name from Fast and the Furious,
Paul Walker.
and Paul Walker, and he kind of does. Like, yeah, he'd be slaying it if he had his stupid legs working.
You don't.
But-
You don't have to be good looking to like fuck a lot of people. Like I'm like a solid.
No,
six,
you,
and like I fuck a lot of people.
Well,
I just slow
you
down.
Well,
got a really high body.
Dane- Dane's
Okay.
right. You don't have to have your legs working, but or you don't have to be good looking.
You gotta have
but
some
he's
type of
got
swag.
he's got looks
He got wheelchair
and
swag.
game. He's got looks and game, which is a dangerous combination. You know.
He stood up and menace. I'm just saying. All right.
Yeah. No, he'd have taken
Blaming
over. the
other
country.
than on Chris Rowe.
Okay.
Are y'all ready?
All right.
Blame it up.
Ironically, our first blame involves another comic that was recently on the podcast. And Terry poses the question: is your penis racist?
It's
Oh.
your
Who's to
penis
blame, Terry?
racist.
Why did you write it like this?
Yeah, Terry, what's going on?
Well, look, I don't have a racist penis. If you're, I don't even have a type. I've gone through this with every
No
woman
one's
I've ever
asking
been
about your penis, but why did
with. Well,
you ask this question?
I'm trying to get to it. All right, if
Okay.
you just let me. Jeez, let me put a period on it first. But it like I've never been like that. I've never even had a type. I've had this conversation with every woman I've ever been with. Is like, no, I just thought you were a cool person. Like I'm genuinely attracted to the person and not just the physical form, you know, like, because I've been with all types, just every type you can imagine,
He
you
doesn't
know,
seem to
the except Asian. I've never had an Asian and I want to make it happen, but whatever.
Maybe
it's
you
for
and your
some
wife
reason.
can't.
Well, we tried actually, but Asians have just eluded me for some whatever reason. Maybe they think I'm Godzilla. I don't know, but no, I think you're allowed. I think that's the one thing in our hyper progressive, society. I think you're still allowed to just be attracted to the people you're attracted to. That's it. Like
Let's
I'm not attracted to big girls, right? Because if you're
Miss
over a certain, if
Miss
you're
out.
over a, I listen. I've been with big girls. I was
Let's-
married to. I was married to a thick girl. But what I'm saying is the reason I'm not attracted to big girls is because my mother was a big girl. So I'm not attracted to that
Okay.
type because reminds me of my mom. So
Let's do
like
this.
take a second.
Because I feel like this is all about Terry's preferences.
Yeah.
Let's tell everyone what we're actually talking about. A few weeks ago, we had comedian Nate Roscoe on the podcast. We talked about David Lucas.
That's true.
And this morning I sent Terry, I didn't know he was going to do this and put this on as a blame on the podcast. This morning I wake up to Nate Roscoe saying this. Oops.
Oh, we got
Like, I mean, girls have, it's different, but like a girl that's like fully black, I just, for some reason, it's just.
So it's just like a preference of skin tone. So you don't like black people.
No, I love black people, but I'm just not attracted sexually to black women.
What's one race that you wouldn't date? Definitely Caucasian men.
Totally understand.
What's one race you would?
Right. So like for context, right? I've had this argument with people all the time. You can have a preference, but like a preference is like if they got Coke and Pepsi and you get the Coke instead. But if they didn't have Coke, you would still drink the Pepsi. Right? When you have that type of preference, it's more of an exclusion. It's like and hear me out. You would think my dick is racist. I've only ever had sex with one black woman. Very good, by the way. Didn't finish. But like, I'm just saying, when you go into it mentally saying, I could sleep with anyone except this one race, it's hard to make the argument that that's not coming from a place of racism, at least to some
so
extent.
you're saying if he would have responded to that same thing by saying, I haven't found a black woman that I'm attracted to yet.
Yeah, I think you should like
that would be different.
I'm gonna tell y'all what the problem is. It's my turn to talk.
Okay.
I'm the
Okay.
black woman. I'm the assaulted one by those fucking words here, right?
Excuse
Not
me,
that I'm
not
trying
by
to hook up with Nate Roscoe by any means, but
not your lifestyle or personality. You're definitely not a black woman. But go ahead.
my problem with his statement was it was colorism for me.
Yeah, okay, like the half. The other
He
half thing.
was okay with the biracial, and then what y'all didn't see is in the clip, there's a really pretty brown skinned girl, maybe a little lighter than me, and then there's a
Just say mixed. We all know what you're
then
saying.
there's a biracial girl that's a mixed girl, and she's vanilla.
She
Okay,
could she could have
And
just
she
been the
even-
product of two light skins. That doesn't mean she's mixed.
you're right.
You two light skins still
but
mixed.
she looked mixed.
Okay.
Okay, she was.
Well, yeah, I'm just
She was
trying to.
mixed presenting,
translate.
if you will. She had blonde hair, it was curly.
Mhm.
Both girls gorgeous. Okay. But my problem with what he said was just that it was the colorism. It was like if you got too much melanin, I cannot. And maybe it's this for Nate. I don't know. Maybe it's his perception of the culture, you know. Maybe he feels like he can't be with a black a black woman because he feels that they're so much culturally different, and I get that too. For
Maybe
me,
he's intimidated. Maybe he's
for
intimidated
me,
by black women.
I've heard this so much as a black woman, like we are put at the bottom of the totem pole, and it's just I think it's conditioning.
I like to stir the pot. You know,
I think it's
I
conditioning.
love
Wait,
to
no,
stir the pot. Let me ask you this before,
Let me,
before you
let me
finish. Would you have the same sentiment about a black man that said he only dates black women?
that says he only dates
That-
white women or
That says,
black.
no, a black man that says his dick does not get hard for a white woman. His dick is racist. Would you say that? Would you have the same sentiments towards a black man?
He makes
no,
a good
'cause
point. That's a
rare.
great point.
That's rare.
It
I'd
doesn't
be
matter.
excited.
Who cares if it's rare? Who cares if it's rare? It's the point of it. Is he racist?
I do.
Is he
Can I
racist?
finish?
Okay.
Can I finish? It's rare for someone to prefer black women over white women or over any other woman.
Clearly,
And-
you haven't been on Twitter. I'm just letting you know. They love black women on Twitter. Like,
They might,
Well.
but that is not the world I grew up in. I'm older,
If-
and that my world that I grew up in, we were not picked. You know, we weren't picked.
Well, if that's
not
the,
even
if
by
that's the
black men.
case,
So
if that's the case, then I have known literally dozens and dozens of racist black women who
What is on your
they say
face?
I'm not
it's a
attracted to
filter.
white men.
Are
I
you-
have
are
been
you in
shot.
front of
I
a
have been shot.
screen? What is wrong with your face?
Yeah, you look like you got
Okay,
eczema.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Stop interrupting. I'm just saying
I wouldn't have
dozens
sex
and
with that white
dozens
man.
throughout through yeah, you would.
Take that
Throughout
off.
throughout I can't help it. It's where it is. Just stop it.
I hate it.
I don't care. Listen, if that's the case, then I have known dozens and dozens of racist black women because I have been shot down by dozens and dozens of black women in my life who said I'm just not attracted to white guys. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
My
and
mom said it.
I
My mom-
never felt put out. I was like, all right, well, that's what you're into.
Because white men
Whatever.
are at the top of the totem pole, just like white women.
Okay, so
It
I-
doesn't
I'll
matter.
say
It's
this.
the
I will say
point.
this.
The point of it was
Asian
that
women are just
I
slightly
didn't
above white
take it
women, right?
personally.
Yeah.
I didn't take it personally. I was just like, okay, they're not into my type.
White men.
That's it. I
Plenty of
never
people that
felt
want you.
excluded.
If you were an
by
Asian
it.
man, you feel some type of way about it.
I mean, I personally, like, I feel it from both ends because there have been women that I've been attracted to that said they didn't date black dudes, but they weren't white themselves, which was weird for me. I was like, okay, I mean, like, I could call you a slur right now, but I'm not gonna. But like, that's when I felt weird about it. To the
Right.
inverse of it, there have been some women that have said, and they have been white and said they don't do black dudes. Like, okay, that's fine. Not really into you in that way either. Like, it was like I do it, but like, I'm not like fucking fiending for you. The one thing that I can say that makes me feel the weirdest is when a white woman says that she only dates black dudes. It makes me feel
That's
weird.
fetish.
It
That's
makes me
fetish.
feel
This
weird,
is-
dude.
This is no.
I say
I'm
this.
sorry. I have to
Since
go off
everyone else
topic
is
here for a
giving their
second.
preferences, I'm gonna give mine.
Okay,
I will date any.
I know what you'll date. You just anybody will
yeah,
have you.
If
I know.
If I like you and I'm physically attracted to you, I will give you.
I know.
Some.
Even if
okay?
you're not physically attracted to them, just whoever. just
Sometimes if
like,
I just need some.
yeah,
I will,
maybe they're 4'11". It wouldn't
let me
matter.
say that. Let me finish. I have like taken pride in trying the assortment of men that we have out here, and I am still interested in an Asian man because I have not had the pleasure.
So am I the only one that's been with an Asian person? I was with a bitch. Her last name was Chomp, like super Asian.
No,
All
I
right,
haven't
why
been
she
with
got to be
any.
a bitch?
I know, right?
Okay. Well, I mean, like,
Because he a black man.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
like-
kidding.
Apparently,
I ain't never trying to call no bitch no hoe. No, I'm like,
You know who started?
I
John Mayer. John Mayer said his dick.
was gonna bring up John Mayer.
Benetton dick. It wasn't a Benetton. He's like he has a Benetton heart, but a David Duke dick.
yeah, his dick was
David-
racist. Which I
Yeah,
like. I feel like
remember that. Yeah.
there's merit in that too, right? Like, not to give credence to this argument because I do think it is kind of racism when you're not attracted to a certain race, but
Mhm.
you can't help,
Conditioned racism.
you can't really help who you're attracted to. I feel like that. Like, again, I like
Exactly, you can't.
Like, I've been. With
I completely
I
agree.
do like
You
the-
cannot help who you're attracted to, who you're not. That's why I didn't take it personally when I got shot down by
Yeah.
black women who said that they were
But
only
again,
into
I
black
think
men.
it's our conditioning.
know.
I think
Well,
black
hang on.
women,
I gotta get this out.
conditioned. Black women are conditioned to put black men above everyone else.
Yes,
even
I know, Because
then
yes, I know. We're human
everyone
beings and we
else
all
is
suffer from
conditioned
tribalism. It's fine.
to
What I'm
protect
saying,
white women, and
I
that's-
have to get. Oh, to protect white women. No, it's because you're pissed off that white women are taking all the best black men. It's fine. I'm just saying, like, I know. I grew
nerve
up in
of him to
Memphis.
say that all
I'm
the way
deep
from
in the
motherfucking
black
Tennessee.
culture. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
deep
be at
into
your
black
baby
culture.
shower.
And by the way, I just have to mention this. I'm out on my patio, right, doing this, and right in the middle of this, a black guy walking his dog walks by, and he looks over. He's like, "What the fuck?" Like right in the middle, and I just out of my white guiltness wanted to be like, "No, you don't understand. I'm doing a podcast with two black people." Like I had to,
Come
I
on.
had to like,
You should've
no,
disconnected
not
the camera
me.
as soon as
It's
he came
not me.
over.
I
It's like, it's-
swear. Like my instinct was be like, "Oh, it's not me."
Come on.
I swear to God, it's not me. I'm not the one. I'm not those. But whatever. It was so hilarious. The look on his face was it just drove me crazy.
Did you break your laptop too?
No, it's got
No,
my background on here now.
Yeah, I know.
I
You
don't
got
know
to
what
constantly
happened.
mess with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Geo is the definitive fix it until it's broken.
But you
person.
can't do what I do.
Right.
So shut
Yeah,
up.
oh yeah. Yeah, nobody could possibly do that. I've never had one single technical issue on here, but yeah, you're the best.
You lying ass. How do I take
Uh,
this goddamn
anyway.
background off? Okay, there we go.
I would love for somebody to like accuse me of being racist because of somebody I'm not sexually attracted to. I mean, that would be like saying that I'm homophobic because I've never sucked a dick.
Well,
That's ridiculous. That's
feel like
ridiculous.
It's a nuanced conversation only because, like, with homosexuality, there's no you prefer this over the other. It's like you literally cannot have sex with some. Well, I mean, maybe you can. I like The thing is,
I've known
think-
homosexual dudes that have been married, and
I've banged a
you
lot of
know,
lesbians, like a lot of
I
lesbians.
think I
so
think
have
a bunch
I.
of it.
I've had a few. I've had a few
I
lesbians.
think a
in
bunch
there.
of it is
I've had like the butch lesbians, like the Subaru lesbians. I'm sorry.
A hundred
y'all doing
percent. Yeah.
material. Go ahead.
No, I'm
No,
not.
I
I'm
think this
not.
is what I think it is. I think a lot of it is our conditioning. Um, you know, we're conditioned, we're brainwashed. We consume all this stuff about what's beauty is and what's sexy,
Yeah.
and we subscribe
Maybe
to
you.
that.
Maybe
I don't think that's
you,
true for
but I'm
everybody.
not.
I feel like
I'm
on
not.
on a very basic level, when you meet those white people that have that quote unquote preference, it is coming from a place of underlying hate that I don't think is conditioned, right? It's more or less, it's like when I was really little, I thought you could only be with girls. And then I found out you could also be with dudes. And I was like, oh, I fucks with that 100%. When they were really little, they were like, oh, I can only be with a white girl. And then they found out you could be with other girls. And they're like, oh, I don't know. You know, like, so I guess
Yeah.
it is sort of conditioning, but it's just like
Yeah.
it's like a,
But it's also based upon your personality, because some people, as much as you are conditioned, they're nonconformists, right?
Yeah.
Well,
You like what I
yeah,
did
but
there?
you're not.
You like
It's
what I
not.
did there?
Look, I was trying to write a bit for a long time, because I've been with two black women in my life who would actually have
Counted.
me. Yeah. Well, there's only two. You don't really have to count. There's just the two of them. So it's not like it's not like there's 37. You know, it's. But no, there was only two of them. But I remember after the first one, I remember my friends, my white friends, that I've known forever, you know, since high school. They would be like, "Oh, I've never done that. What's it like? What's it like to be with a black girl? What's it like to be with a black girl?" I'm like, "It's like being with every other girl, but darker. Like it doesn't like
We
it's a
like to
little
think that
more.
it's
It's a
like this
little
big
more.
thing.
Hang on. It's
Yeah,
a
it's a big
it's a little more aggressive at times, but it's pretty much
do you
the
mean by that?
exact
what do
same
you mean by that?
thing.
Barry?
Well, they're
Oh, no, I
they're
like
more
it.
into it. Like here's my experience. Um, Black women know what they want more, and they just get after it. You know what I mean? Like they're like, "You're
Many
not
Russians.
leaving me hanging. You're
I
not
can see
leaving me hanging like you left
Plus white
Rachel
faces
hanging."
and Russians.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because that's a real problem. I'm sorry, I've been with a lot of white women too in my life, and a lot of Hispanic women, and a lot of them get left hanging at the end of, Congress or whatever, physical stimuli. A
Your
lot of them
screen
get
is
left
really
hanging,
doing this.
huh?
It's not
Okay,
minding me
whatever.
too bad. Like he's on the patio. The only thing is, it does look like you have a skin condition.
When you get
It
too
looks like-
close,
It's
right
fine. Then I
there
have a
is
skin
fine.
condition. Let it go. I'm Deadpool for this episode.
There you
But I'm just saying, listen to my words. Uh, Black women are more confident in themselves, which means they're more likely to just take charge and say, "No, I want this, and I'm gonna have it because I do." Like that's what I mean by aggressive,
I feel like that comes from a place of fetishization.
which
too.
is awesome, by the way. It's
Okay, no,
awesome.
That it comes from a place of fetish.
I do think it comes like from a place of like all like the thing about me. I'm 6'4". I wear a size 14 shoe. They expect me to have a big dick. I do not have a big dick. It's a regular size dick. I have like you have no idea how many people expect me.
I like
It's fucking crazy.
refuse
To have a
believe-
piece
A
on you.
regular size penis.
don't
I
believe
can
Yeah.
assure you,
it.
dude. Like it's
I
fine.
think you're black and you think it's regular. Like it ain't regular.
No,
Ain't
I'm
no way. He's
well.
big. He's a tall person.
Look,
I'm so glad I came on this
I've
podcast.
been in the European locker room before. Like I've seen all shapes and sizes. Like it's
I'll
pretty
say
crazy.
this.
But
I'll say this that it's like all black men don't have big penises, and there's white men with big penises.
I know,
So I'm just saying.
You guys know about girth
I
master?
know.
No, I like
I've,
her.
I've been in some of those places, and I was like, oh,
What do you guys get a chance? Your audience when they get a chance?
Tyrone or whoever. Like
Look up-
it was almost a confidence
Lord,
boost
am
for
I
me.
looking
That's why I think all young men should have to go in the locker room together because it was almost a confidence boost for me because I'm like, oh, I thought you guys were supposed to. I'm bigger than you. All right. You know,
That
like,
wouldn't
I'm doing
happen to me.
okay.
That wouldn't happen
Yeah.
to me. Like I'm a shower, not a grower. Honestly, I mean, no, I'm a grower. I said it
Wait,
backwards,
you're a
goddamn.
girl. I was gonna say that's the opposite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's fucking. It looks like it looks almost like it's diseased because
What's
like
that for?
Well, no, you gotta. Hey, Dane, you gotta fluff it up,
no,
man.
you know, get it. That's not the.
No, you
I'll
gotta
show you the-
fluff it up before you're in situations like that. Come on.
No, look at that. Like, so there's a guy.
Why are you showing that?
Girthmaster. He said, look it up.
He's an Australian dude. Watch one of his videos. Just
Okay.
like you gotta watch one of his videos.
What's it about? Tell us about Girthmaster.
So Girthmaster is this dude from like Australia whose penis arguably isn't very long, but it's like fucking it's wide. It's like it's a very
Yeah,
wide.
it's like an arm.
Yeah,
They,
it's
they,
like the
they,
size
they
of-
call him they call him the tuna can.
right. Like it's like
You know?
I mean, it's still like it's a decent sized penis. Like
I
length-
don't know.
Like the real thing is like it's girth. Like he put a wine bottle next to it and it looked like fucking like that's shocking. But you should look up his
They
videos.
call him the beer can.
Well, I don't know. It's like when you're attracted to someone over something that they can't control, like their girth or their skin color. Are you a bad person?
Gio
I
just-
don't know.
Gio just hit the nail on the head right there
Yeah.
because that's what gave me security in that way. Because again, I grew up in like the 80s and 90s. Well, yeah, the internet, we didn't have support or whatever. But I just kind of figured out like, oh, there's nothing I can do about this. It's not like your chest size, like for a woman, like her bra size. I can't go have surgery to fix this. Like
There's
it's just
surgery.
But
it
still,
is what
even
it is. There is a surgery, but
There's
there's
a
a
surgery.
50-50
but even with
shot.
breasts, that wasn't
But there's
always
a
a thing.
50-50 shot with the surgery. There's a 50-50 shot that if you get it, that your dick just doesn't work anymore.
There's also an
So, and
exercise-
that's not a risk I'm willing to take.
It's called joking. I don't know if you ever heard of joking, but it's like where you stretch your penis essentially. You fucking
Oh
you
God,
just-
that sounds
you,
awful.
You fucking just squeeze it. You give it a couple
No.
like you do reps like 13 each night before you go to bed. You do fucking it makes your dick look like a portobello mushroom though, because the top gets really
Okay,
big.
I'm sure. And
fucking
I'm
terrible.
sure if your tits are too big, you can cut them off and throw them in the
Not for
dryer. I'm not
kids.
doing that either. Like that's awful what you just described.
What I'll leave it on with this. Like I feel like everybody has something that makes them appealing. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a big dick or whatever. Like if I had my dick and I was short, I'd be mad. I'd be really mad. But like I'm like, I got my regular dick and I'm like 6'4", so it
Yeah.
works out. Like,
Yeah.
You're like people, you can fool them, right?
Yeah, they
they'll be
expect
like,
it.
they're gonna be like ready to go.
Right.
All right. I don't know. I think for me on this topic, like I say, it's just hard to know what to say when someone is not attracted to you based upon something you can't control. Like you being overweight, usually that's within your control, right? I don't even want to say breasts because that's something new that you could go out and get.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that when you limit yourself based upon race or whatever it is, you may miss out on love because it's already so hard to find love out
I'll
here.
agree with that. Yeah, I
If
can
you
agree
do
with that.
you might miss an opportunity, and that's on you. You can end up miserable in
I can
same,
agree with that.
same
too.
race fucking marriage if you want. I don't
No,
know.
I
like that's the one I
can
feel the
totally
opposite.
agree with what Gio's saying. Because she's right. You're limiting yourself. But I can also agree with everybody who says like I'm just not attracted to you.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse. And I can tell you, having been there, there's nothing worse than being in a long-term relationship with a person that you actually feel general feelings for, but you're not attracted to them physically. Like it's like a little infection in your
Yeah.
relationship that just grows and grows and grows.
How would
Because
you even be with someone if you're not attracted to them? I don't understand.
think-
that.
I was married to one for 7 years.
Why
Like
did you
I was
marry
not
her?
because she needed to stay in the country
Okay,
at the
dude.
time.
Why did you even
And-
date her?
And I was
Or-
dating her, but I dated her, but I broke up with her because I didn't feel attracted to her. And then my mom died, and I was in a terrible place. And she was there. She was a safe port in the storm for me. And then, I had these feelings of like I owe her because she got me out of this dark place. And, human beings are complicated with their emotions and their desires. Like it's unfair to look at somebody and just say, "Oh, you're a racist because you say you won't have sex with black women." That's fucked up.
It is-
That's
it is
fucked
what
up
it
on
is.
its own. That's
me ask you
equally as
this.
bad, I think.
How complicated is to say you're a criminal because you're homeless? That's our next subject.
Nice. You know what? That was a nice transition. Good for
Good
you.
segue.
Good for you.
Is it a crime to be homeless now? Who's to
Yes.
blame, guys? The Supreme Court is gonna let us know soon. Terry, what you gotta say on this?
Fuck those poor people. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Great.
It's essentially debtor's prison, which is illegal in the United States. We used to have debtor's prison. You know, if you didn't pay your bills, you know, they just send you to jail. But this is just more of the same prison industrial complex. There are people making money off of putting people in jail, and the more bodies they can stuff into a cell, the more money they make. It's evil. It's true evil in the modern age.
Also, but it also begs the question though, like, because I watched the video and I saw one of the homeless guys. He said that he said if he lived in this neighborhood, he wouldn't want, all these homeless people in the
Well, that's
neighborhood.
NIMBY.
But where are
NIMBY
they
is what you're
supposed
talking
to
about, not
go?
in my
Like, what's the
backyard.
solution here? Dane, what do you think here?
Well, I would say that, like, I personally feel like it's America's simplest solution to a much more complicated problem. Like, most of the people that are homeless are suffering from a lot of like mental health
Yeah.
issues, not to mention like being a victim of our economy. And instead of like working on infrastructure to try to resolve that, it's much easier to just send those people to jail. While in jail,
Yeah.
we can profit off of them in that way. But the thing that I think is most disingenuous about this argument about homelessness is like the people who live in these, like even here in West Palm Beach, we did some fucking weird psychological warfare to the homeless people of West Palm Beach, including not limited to playing Baby Shark on repeat at the waterfront where homeless people slept. So like, I think it's evil. Me and Terry think it's evil. It's clearly like inherently malicious to people that are having the worst times of their lives. But also, as a person that's been homeless before, I think the stigma needs to be removed that these people are just fucking giving up. A lot of times it's things outside of their control. Nobody wants to fucking sleep on a park bench, dude. Nobody wants to fucking.
Actually, I don't know.
Well, anybody
because
who's
let,
worked.
let me get in here.
right.
I don't know that that's true. Like, Austin
You've
got
obviously never worked with them. Go ahead. Say your
Austin got
piece.
overrun with homeless people, right?
I
And
keep
there
for- I keep forgetting you're from Texas. Keep going.
and there was one I know
Yeah, she's
'cause
white.
look what time it is. Like, we enjoy talking to each other too much. Okay. It's
She's still
already
white.
been
It's
30
fine.
minutes.
Go ahead.
And we only got through 2 topics. I'm supposed to keep us
All
on
right.
schedule.
All right. Yeah, you're right. She is
But
the
anyway,
gatekeeper. Go ahead.
there was a doctor that left New York just to they didn't want to conform anymore.
Yeah.
They just wanted to be like, I just want to live. And there is a way of life like that. You can just live day to day.
Yeah.
It might not be a way of life for someone like me. I don't want to do that, but I can get and empathize with getting to the space where you're like, fuck this shit.
I think that
I
comes
know.
from.
I know a guy who moved out to Alaska and lives in the bush now, by himself, alone on public lands, illegally, by the way, because you're not allowed to live on public lands, like that. But
so
they
many
at any point in time they could come in there with guns and tell him to get out, and there'd be a whole standoff or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it's a very, very complicated issue. And like Dane said, anybody who's ever worked with homeless people or in that population knows that yes, 90% of it is mental issues that we're not addressing and not taking care of. But we can't. But at the same time, I also agree with the Karens of the world. Like, you can't just have a whole city of homeless people just camped out like LA. You just ruin everything like that. But it's a very, very complicated issue. And most of it comes down to corruption at a state governmental level, because it's not like they're not putting money into it, but they're putting money into it, but it's getting siphoned off to all these other people, these builders, these contractors. It's like, oh, I'll get you the contract if you're going to give me some money under the table, and I'll make sure you get the contract. It's all this other stuff. It's like something that should cost to build a shelter. It should cost $100,000. Ends up being like $2 million by the end of it. And it takes 10 years to get it done. You got to cut that red tape so that corruption can't happen.
Yeah. I mean, the thing, like, basically, my understanding about, at least to pick up what Giovanni was saying, there are some people that prefer to live homeless, they prefer to live uninhibited, but that's the exception, is not the rule. And
Yeah,
what
no,
me
I
Interior
agree.
is saying, like 90% of it's mental health issues, 90% of it like
It is.
it's like substance abuse issues. You're out, you're homeless, you're on the street. Most people will want to try to reconcile that with themselves, and the only way they know how, they'll turn to drugs, they'll turn to alcohol. But that doesn't make them any
100%.
less deserving of assistance. That doesn't make them any less deserving of humanity.
It makes them more deserving.
if you see
Makes
a
them more
person,
deserving. They need it.
yeah, yeah, if you see a person that like has to result or has to resolve to fucking living in a tent every day and trying to figure out where their next meal is coming from, and the first thing you think of when you see that person is, I don't want that person around. You're a piece of shit. Like that's fucking insane.
Well, you know what it is, Dane? It's like turning over a rock and you see all of the insects that are just going crazy because you turn the rock over, and then you're shouting on them like, "Why don't you get organized? Why don't you do the thing?" You know what I mean? It's like they can't help it. It's their nature, and it's like somebody like you or me or anybody else that is in control of their life and in control of their mind and their feelings, saying, what are you doing? Why are you living out there? Why don't you go get a job and get a thing? And it's like what are you talking about? Like you're trying to explain astrophysics to a
You gotta
cat.
wait for the plane to go
You
by. Give me
know?
a second. Give me a second.
That's fine. I'll just keep talking because it's not hurting me at all. And you know I can monologue. But yeah, it's crazy the way we look at these people, the way we talk to these people. When I was in Deerfield Beach, and my dad had a church there, he used to go literally every week on Saturday. He would go out into, there was this little wooded section. There was a guy who lived out there, and he would go out there and talk to that guy. And after a couple of years of this, I asked him, I'm like, who is that lives in the woods? He's like, oh, he's one of our benefactors. And I said, what does a benefactor mean? And he goes, oh, he gives us money to help us run the church. That guy had like $3 million in 1991 money, right? But he lived out in the woods because he felt that he needed to. He was just mentally ill. He had all the money in the world. I had a
Was
guy
he
outside my
mentally ill?
restaurant. I had a
That's
guy in
interesting
my
that you call him mentally ill because it's like, was he? He's like, I don't need it.
I had a
Is he at
guy.
church.
I'm going to explain it to you right now. I had a guy outside my restaurant named Richard. He used to come by my restaurant all the time. Everybody knew him. He had schizophrenia. He was mentally ill. He used to live in an old truck that was down the street, that was broke down in this patch of grass or whatever. And he would live in that truck, and he'd wear these tattered jeans that were torn all down the sides, and his hair was all long but bald on the top. And we all knew Richard. He would come by. Sometimes he would come by and order food from me. And I'd make him sit in the picnic benches out back because he smelled so bad I couldn't have him in the restaurant. But I would bring out his food to him and he would eat, and he would pay cash money out of a big wad of bills in his pocket. Turns out he disappeared. Nobody knew what happened to Richard. 6 months later, a guy comes asking around about a guy who looks like that. He owns 3 houses. His mother died and left him 3 houses, but when he gets off his meds, he goes crazy and he just lives out in the world. It's nuts, but that's what happens. I mean, that's the world we live in. You just have to educate yourself and understand it.
I want to know this. Do you think that we can use homelessness to solve the Ozempic problem?
Oh my god.
It's not an Ozempic problem. I
Would
put
they
that on
need
there 'cause it's
Ozempic if they
good.
were homeless? Okay, y'all.
Okay.
No, but that's what we're talking about next. Is
We
Ozempic
can
the
just
new?
skip that one.
Yeah, dude, can we skip that one? Because honestly, I'm 31 years old. I don't know what fucking Ozempic is. I like keep hearing about it. I've never looked into it.
Okay, I'll give it to you in a nutshell. Ozempic is a drug that was used to control blood sugar and diabetes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about
But
this.
they figured out that if a normal healthy person took it, that it would reduce their cravings, make them feel full all the time so that they wouldn't eat. And if they ate too much, they would end up getting sick to their stomach. But the good thing about it, why I said it might be the new wonder drug, is because they're using it now for alcoholism,
That's
drug
the part that I
addiction.
wanted to talk about.
Yeah, they're using it for nicotine addiction because it not only quells the urge to eat, but it quells the urge for everything.
But my problem with that is there's other stuff that help with alcoholism, like LSD. There's other things that help with cravings for tobacco, like
Psilocybin. You
yeah.
got there.
Psilocybin. I tried the psilocybin. It doesn't work, but go ahead. Not for me, at least.
And I microdose psilocybin almost every morning. I still drink just as much as I always have. So,
Yeah.
No, the psilocybin is supposed to be for these.
oh, for the cigarettes, I don't know about that either.
Yeah.
You know, nothing feels better than being tripped out smoking a cigarette. You know,
You would know, Gio. You and I took that trip together,
Yeah. Yeah, that was
and
wild.
Brian Coronado had to ruin the whole thing.
No,
with
you ruined
stupid
it because you
Terminator
had to
2.
take a hero dose. That was you that messed it up.
I took a hero dose,
what
but
do you guys
he
consider a
put.
hero?
We were having a good time watching Harry Potter, and then he had to put on
How many
Terminator
mushrooms did you
2.
take?
Almost 6 grams.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
That was his
Yeah.
hero.
Hey, I got some bad trauma in my life, so I'm trying to erase all that.
Right.
Tell
you know
him about
what?
it later, Gio.
We are gonna skip our next topic because we were having
Alright.
such a good time. This has never happened that
Well-
we just don't have time to.
Well,
touch
we
on
don't
it.
have to do the meet and greet. Everybody knows Dane. It's fine.
No,
Everybody knows me.
Dane's never been on. We do have to do the meet and greet.
You
You
know-
shut up.
You know
All
what's
right,
really
fine.
funny?
Let's
You guys
make
tried
it
to get
quick.
me on. You guys tried to get me on a while ago. I don't know what happened. I just couldn't. I was going through some shit, but at the
You
time I
were
was supposed to go on-
being
You're very
you were
busy.
being a-
We know, Dane.
you were
we
being
know.
a queen about it. I
He-
know.
he's
You were
very
being a
busy.
drama queen. Being a drama queen
All
about
right,
it. You're
guys,
like, no
If
time.
you don't know Dane, this is someone in South Florida comedy you should know. Welcome, Dane.
How's it going?
And we've already covered some of this stuff. You said that you've been doing this 11 years, but how did you get started?
12 years.
Sorry.
12 years. No,
Oh,
But how did you
yeah.
get started?
my first
Respect.
official time going up was at this place in Port St. Lucie called 60 Sundays. It was an open mic. My friend was a DJ, and he was a terrible DJ. He was doing like experimental music at this fucking ice cream bar. And he was like, "Oh, you know, it'd be funny if you came up before me and made a bunch of jokes about DJs." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." And like, it went actually really well for what I was talking about. They were like dad jokes, like the worst common denominator of jokes that you could fucking tell.
You
And
wrote them though?
yeah, I wrote them. I was like, "What's the difference between a
I
DJ?"
can't see you writing dad jokes. That's
Yeah,
so
it's
crazy.
a super dad joke. It's like, "What's the difference between a DJ and a broken iPod?"
What?
A broken iPod messes up your favorite songs by accident. So shit like that. And then like the white people fucking ate it up. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm good at this. And I started doing it for a while, going to different places.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up coming across Terry at a fucking
Don't speak for my people, but that's all right.
yeah. Came across Terry at Average Joe's.
That's way down the line. No, we're talking about your start.
My first big break, if you would. My
Mhm.
first comedy adjacent thing. I was in this music video for this group called the Pangea Kids. They had made a song called Jungle on My Neck, and I had told the guy that I was like a skateboarder. I also did stand-up comedy. I was like, hey, do you want to be in my music video? He's like, if you can round up people to be in the music video, we'll put you in. And I rounded up a bunch of kids to like skate and like dance around in the background of this music video. It ended up being on 106 in Park. It was terrible. Did not make the video.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That's wild. What else, 6 in Park?
106
All
in
right.
Park.
Since you've been doing comedy,
Yeah.
what has become your favorite venue? And you cannot say.
You can't say the improvs.
And I don't fuck with
No
the
A
improv.
clubs.
Like hot take, controversial take. You guys can have me on the podcast today. I don't fuck with the improv. The improv doesn't fuck with me. They know what they did. It doesn't matter. But,
Ooh.
but like,
Sound like some tea.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm sure
but-
that's really gonna hurt him.
favorite venue to perform at.
In case y'all are wondering, we're right by an airport and a train line.
Yeah,
That one
this-
was
this
close.
is
I could
why we
fucking
don't
hit
do
that one
shit
with a
on
tennis ball if
location.
I wanted to.
Can you hear this? Can you hear these going over us?
I can't hear anything, so
This mic
no.
is amazing.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
Word. So my favorite venue of all time.
Go get in some reviews. Okay, go ahead.
But you know what's crazy? It's gonna sound sentimental. Fucking Average Joe's back in the day. I was convinced that I wasn't
I
good
liked
at comedy
Average
anymore.
Joe's.
And then they had that comedy competition right before I stopped going there. It was like, oh, we're gonna see who could compete to like do that paid spot thing. And I had ended up winning a spot on there, and then I didn't make it to the show because like I got kicked out of my house or some shit. But like, I remember Average Joe's avidly because there are hard crowds, but Average Joe's is the hardest crowd. If you made somebody at Average Joe's laugh, you're like, yeah, I fucking did that shit. You know, it made you.
No,
feel better.
I liked Average Joe's too. I don't think you're off base there. I think that's a fair.
Really?
I wouldn't
Barely
have,
remember average shows.
I wouldn't have said it was one of my favorites, but I definitely remember thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna make time to go over here because the crowd was good. It was all regulars and they knew you and you could go out there and try new material and and get good
I just remember
responses or fair
I just,
judgments,
I just remember it being open right after COVID, and then my friend came and gave everybody COVID.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Dude.
So,
Oh, I remember
all
that. I
yeah,
remember
you
when
do.
that happened. Yeah.
All right, Dane, have you been able to travel to do comedy? Have you gone like out of the state, out of the county? Where have you traveled?
So the furthest I've ever traveled for comedy was this Tallahassee. There's this one comedy club, I forget the name of it, but it's in Tallahassee. It's like basically one of the only comedy clubs up there. They had like something like an open mic, but it wasn't really an open mic. It was more like an open call for comedians one night where the guy that they had didn't show up. I went up there. I didn't do super well. It was an all black room. And sometimes my shit doesn't hit well with an all black room. Can't talk about touching your dick and wanting to kill yourself.
I
So,
identify. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So, but I think that's the furthest I've never left Florida for my comedy, which I feel kind of bad about.
But we talked about it. We're gonna do this.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna get you to Austin because I feel like you would crush it in Austin. They would
It's
love
just
it.
that Florida boy swag. I want to
You
make
might
something
not
here.
come back
Oh,
if you go to
Jesus.
Austin. You might be like, these my people,
Okay.
you know? All right. What is your favorite or proudest moment that you've had since you started comedy?
My favorite moment was, I mean, my proudest moment would have to be the fucking, even though it was bullshit, like the brand deal. I was blowing up on TikTok with some shit, and I was just,
Brand deal, go on.
yeah, I had made some jokes, and this soft drink company reached out to me, and they're like, "Hey, you want to like, you can run the TikTok, make whatever you want, as long as it's funny, it's not offensive." And they paid me a decent amount of money to do that. I think that was my proudest moment in comedy. It was weird though. It's like
That's interesting because it's like not a stand-up.
it's not a stand-up moment for me, but like it was just like the weird shit that I was saying online to make people laugh. It translated enough to where like this company was willing to give me money to try to do it. It didn't work out well. The company went under, but they still paid me to fucking do that.
I'm just gonna say it's impossible to be really funny and non-offensive at the same time.
Yeah.
That's corporate speak. That's corporate speak.
But that, I mean, clean is great. But I understand
It
why that
isn't.
was a really proud moment for you. What's been your biggest challenge as a comic?
Me, dude, like how I am as a person, I be getting sad sometimes, dude. I'll have a run where I'm going and I'm like, even with the show coming back, I was going and going, and then I just got so goddamn tired. And I was like, oh, I got a fucking job. What am I doing? Like I've been doing this shit for 12 years. Like, what's really coming of it? My biggest challenge is like I do get in my own head a lot. I will say that I'm my biggest critic. And also, I unfortunately care about this dumb shit we do. Like, I get really cynical when I see people doing the same type of shit and not growing. That fucks with me too. I was like, these people are getting books. They're going to fucking places.
All you
and
can
they're
do
fucking
is worry
not
about
progressing,
yourself,
you know?
But at the same
Well,
time,
I mean,
I think it's healthy to treat this as it's a hobby
It's a
until it's not. You know what I'm saying?
well,
don't
I
be
mean
too-
that
Don't be too hard on yourself, but by how far you're going or not going because you got a day job.
well, we
you know
talked
what I mean?
about that once. There are
well, it's
some
like a
people that-
relationship.
Yeah.
Like anybody who's ever been in a long-term relationship
Comedy, my
knows
boyfriend.
you could have someone you love tremendously, who's the center of your world, and you still hate them sometimes. So it's like you can
sound like a
you
maid
still
talking
do,
about
and that's healthy. That's
No,
natural.
no,
It's
that's fair.
perfectly
Sometimes
it's
you hate them.
perfectly natural to hate somebody sometimes, but still be madly in love with them. And that's kind of how it is with stand-up. Like stand-up, you do it for so long and you don't get what you want in return, and you kind of hate it a little bit, and you're like, and then you start going into self-doubt in these weird places in your head, like, am I supposed to be doing this? Do I even like it anymore? Blah blah blah.
That's why
But it's
Terry
just like a relationship. So
That's why Terry quit. But he coming back.
You quit me.
He about to have a
no, I
baby.
didn't
So
quit. I never said that. I never said that I quit. She just
Okay.
put that on me. She
Okay.
put
All
that
right.
moniker on me.
So Dane, give us an abbreviated version about who you are, like where you're from, what's your day job, you got family you want to talk about, anything.
So born in Tallahassee, lived in Florida for most of my life. There was a small stint where I moved to Georgia. Did not like Georgia. Don't go to Georgia. Fuck that place.
Did Tyler Perry try to
Georgia's
fuck you?
fine.
No,
He
dude.
would have loved you.
Bro, it's just like in Georgia, it's like perpetually 2008 forever. Like it's never fucking outside of Atlanta, Georgia is all the same fucking
Oh, you
year.
didn't go to Atlanta.
I went to
Okay.
Atlanta. I went to Atlanta a couple times for like shows and shit like that. But
But when you moved to Georgia, you didn't live in Atlanta.
no, I was in like Byron or Macon or like
Gross.
Warner Robins, like these really very small towns in Georgia.
I see.
My family is not much to talk about. My dad died recently. It's and
You
it's
do talk
Sorry
a
to
lot
hear
about
about
your
that.
dad.
this is gonna
Sorry,
sound
sorry
fucked
to
up.
hear about that.
No, that's fine because I know him. But like it's it's crazy because I
Still.
think word on the street he was a good guy. I never met him, but him dying has helped my comedy career so much. It's so crazy. Like I got
But
a
what you
tight
talk
15.
about is real.
Yeah, they love it, dude.
It's real, and it's funny that you say that because like my birth father, I have a stepdad,
Yeah.
but he was addicted to heroin,
Oh no.
and my stepdad, I was talking to him about my dad one time, and he goes, Robert Taylor was a good man. He just got a hold of a bad drug about my dad, and I was like, oh my god. So yeah, it's interesting how your parent can be perceived as good to some other people
Yeah,
than
see,
you. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
You know, like I don't have any hard feelings for him, but it is weird when I went to the funeral how many people were like advocating to me how much of a great dude my dad was. Like, okay, well he wasn't that great, you know what I'm saying? Like he was a good dude, don't get me wrong, but like the nigga could have called every now and again. I'm just saying, like that's crazy. Like fucking 31 years, that's a long time to go without calling.
All right. Are you
Mm.
ready to play the blame game? Dave?
Yeah, dude, let's play it. Oh no, it's getting dark.
I know. It's we got to get over here to this mic. Did
We
you
got
sign up
to
already?
get
I have
over.
not signed
Well,
up.
let's
Oh
go.
damn.
I'm gonna be last.
All right, we got to get Dane over here to this mic. When Terry Wayne does words for white people, you can go sign up because you're not white. So,
Okay.
you don't need to listen.
I
Uh,
identify. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, Dane. It took us forever to get you on our mic. Who's to blame?
For the pod, dude, like I love podcasts. I love you guys both. Both of you guys I think have been integral in like what I've been doing. When you came back to the therapy sessions, you were always like a big draw for people
I love
because
this
you were doing other stuff.
draw.
You were a draw. People heard you were there and they would come out. So like the main thing,
Yeah, but
The
I was
only thing
actually
is-
funny.
the main thing that like stopped me from getting on the pod, honestly, was just like figuring out my shows, doing other shit, and finally Giovanni, she just had to text me. All you had to do is get my number and text me. Once you
I
have my
harassed
number,
him.
if
quite
you
a-
ask me, I'll do it. But like, you do have to keep asking me sometimes. I'll be fair.
All
with that.
right. Why
Yeah.
don't you give everybody your socials and whatnot?
I'm gonna leave my personal out of it because I'm filming an hour. If anybody wants to come to that, I'm filming an hour to have a body of work I can present to people. And I'll be dropping sometime in the summer. The fucking page to follow my shows is the Therapy Sessions Comedy. Also, I got a short film that I'm working on with another guy that might be coming out this month. So look out for that. Other than that, I got nothing else going on.
Yeah,
Projects.
he's
bitch,
filming an
projects.
hour. Come out and hear
All
his 4 good jokes.
All right. right.
You said it, man, not me.
All right.
You
Terry
said
Wayne,
it.
you got words for white people? Let's get it out.
I do.
Wanna hear the
Let's
words?
make it quick. We got ladders this week. Ladders is the words for white people this week. And it's words for all people this week, actually, because ladders are important, because ladders go step by step to take you where you want to go. They take you to where you want to be. And ladders for me means priorities, right? Just like Gio just said. I've put comedy off to the side right now, but it's not that I don't love it and it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that I got my own priorities. I got my own rungs on my ladder. So I got my wife, I got my new job, I got my kid on the way. These are my real, rungs on my next ladder to the place where I may be supposed to be, or maybe not. I don't know, but I'm walking the path that I'm walking. So if I got to take something and put it off to the side to have my priorities straight, that's good. And I should feel proud of that. I shouldn't feel bad about that. I shouldn't let other people tell me that I'm, doing one thing or doing the other, or maybe I'm right or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I get to sleep at night knowing that I'm trying my best and I'm doing my best. And when you listen to other people around you, be they positive voices or negative ones, it doesn't matter. You're changing the rungs on your ladder based on somebody else. And fuck that, man. You got to own your own life. You got to own your own life and own your own decisions, because that's how you get real confidence that allows you to get to that top of that ladder that you have for yourself. And if everybody else, if they can't vibe with it and if they can't get on your team, then guess what? It's just like the Bible said, if the eye offendeth thee, pluck it out. You know what I mean? You got to get rid of those negative people in your life that are keeping you from getting to the top of the ladder that you have set up for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're the one living your life. So fuck them, listen to yourself, trust yourself, and you'll end up at the top of the ladder where you want to be. I can't hear you. You're off.
I got distracted, I'll be honest, because
It's
our
fine.
boy Jason Pellish was commenting up a storm and I just saw
I'm
it.
sure he was.
I
I'm
did
sure
not-
he was.
He said, let's just read a couple of them. What's up, my people? Costco's #1 selling product, Ozempic.
That's right. That's
If you
right.
must be a big fat slob, be skinny while never confronting our inner cannibal.
Well,
Blame
we were
Terry.
talking about we were
He
talking
really
about
liked
it's
Dane. He
help
said
with
something that you're
addiction,
doing
but-
is not healthy, Terry.
okay, that's fine.
And he said that use communication with your partner. By the way, she's too hot for you. Jason,
That's
we
fine.
miss you. It was good to hear from you. I'm sorry we missed you.
Who's
while
too
you were
hot for me?
gone.
You?
know.
You're too
We
hot
know.
for me? All right.
She
Wait,
is
what?
a cool woman, young woman, and you're an old man having strokes. So
Who? Oh, yeah, we talking about J-Dog now?
I'm talking about you. You're an old man having no, I'm just
Okay.
cracking jokes.
I'm confused.
All right. All right. I guess Dane's gone. He went to go sign up for the mic. I'll just let you know what he has coming up. It's called Brass Tap. It's in Boynton Beach. It'll be this coming Sunday at 8 o'clock. Terry, you got anything coming up?
No, just the book. Unclaimed Dash is on Amazon on sale right now.
Let us know when we can catch you at a mic in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's coming up soon. As soon as I stop with my training thub and I get a regular schedule, then yeah, that's gonna happen. Because I've got oodles of new material that I just can't wait to try out.
Right, good. I am we have funny days at O'Shea's with Brian Drolet tomorrow. O'Shea's West Palm Beach. And then I think I mentioned last week I'm the new host of trivia at O'Shea's West Palm Beach
Yep.
every Wednesday. And then I have it's a 420 show, but it's a little late on it's Saturday. I think Saturday, it's 429, Saturday or Sunday
Yes.
at the Boca Black Box with Dr. Peggy, who's
Bring
Maybe
your
we'll-
weed for the 429 show.
right. Maybe we'll try to get Dr. Peggy back on because we only tried that one time. We got to get
I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
it'll be in person. I'll make sure she's all right.
Yeah.
All right. I guess until next week. I'll talk
That's
to you
it.
later. All right.
Later.
Bye guys. Thanks, Jason.